Hello, good evening everyone. Jennifer Davis here. We are doing our weekly stumbling over my words, learning new things about essential oils. And it is yucky and it is rainy outside, but it's not cold, so I could have gone on my front porch, but I have a fear that it's all just gonna like gush rain or something on me. So tonight we are in my cozy bedroom and we are staying dry. So we are going to talk about how to use your essential oils topically, so on your skin. And normally when I teach a basic class, I really just talk about a few little points here and there when it comes to topical usage. But tonight I'm going to break it down and I'm going to get super detailed. And I even have my Modern Essentials book because there's one area where it gets a little tricky, and I'm just going to read it for you. But if you have the Modern Essential book, it is in the book. So if you're joining me, just say hi. Let me know that my live video is actually working, and we will just jump right into it. So are you guys ready? So tonight we're going to talk about using your essential oils topically. And I had a plan to talk about topical, aromatic, and internal usage all in one, but then when I started to do more research, I realized I need to give each one its own week because I don't want these videos to be too long. I don't want them to go past 30 minutes, and really, when I get to 20 minutes, I kind of like to finish up there. So hopefully we'll make it to that point. So when we use our essential oils on us, we use them topically, we can use them aromatically, we can use them internally, and then we can use them to clean with. So tonight we're going to focus on topical usage. So there are 6 ways to use your essential oils topically. Did you know that it was 6 ways? Normally when I teach you how to use essential oils topically, I'm just talking about one way. So today we're going to talk about all 6. So the first way, and actually the most common way, is called direct application. That's basically just putting the essential oil on your skin, directly applying it on the skin. So let's break it down to the different ways that you can do that. So one way is on the bottoms of the feet. So I talk about this a lot. It's a great way to use your essential oils because that is the area of your body where your pores are rather large, and so absorption is really fast. In fact, I find that when I use the Balance Blend on my child who is losing it, within a few seconds they start to feel a little bit more chilled out. And so actually for an adult, you can use 3 to 6 drops per foot. That's a lot of oil, but if you are super stressed or you're dealing with anxiety or something really big, or maybe you start to feel like you're really getting sick, then definitely go for the 3 to 6 drops for an adult. For a child, I usually do no more than 3 per foot when it comes to those things. If you're just using it for normal, just like want to feel a little bit better, just for prevention of type stuff, 1 to 2 drops is plenty. So definitely experiment with that a little bit and use what you prefer. My favorite, like I said, oil to use on the bottoms of my feet is Balance. Another thing that I really like on the bottoms of my feet is orange and peppermint. If you've never used those, they are amazing. They make you feel so excited. If you have a hard time like getting excited about stuff, or maybe you're just feeling sluggish or tired, then use your orange and your peppermint on the bottoms of your feet. So another place you can use your essential oils is behind the ear. So there's 2 ways. You've got behind your ear, you have like a bone right there. That's one way. And then right here behind your ear, the skin is really thin, and that's another really good spot to put that essential oil. Wrists right here. Also, I like to go in the inside of the arm right here too. So when I'm putting essential oils on my girls, sometimes I'll put some on the wrist, sometimes I'll put some right there, and then right behind the neck. So it's not like all in one spot. But we'll go into why you would put them in all in one spot too here in a little bit. Okay, so large areas. So let's say you've been working really hard, chasing your kids around all day, or maybe you've been sitting in a chair all day and your back hurts and you're really stiff and you're just feeling it all down in there, all the way down your spine or something, then what you can do is actually use your essential oil right where it hurts, like drop it on the spine, or have someone else do it for you, or put it in your hands and try and rub it in as best you can. And you can use fractionated coconut oil for that. So when you're doing kind of a bigger area like that, the recommendation is 15 to 30% dilution. What does that mean? So let's say 30% dilution. That's like 3 drops to 10 drops of fractionated coconut oil. I think I'm converting that right. So it would be a higher dilution rate just because you're covering a larger area. But I have personal experience, and I just know that when you're using, like, let's say Deep Blue, and you're using 3 drops to 10 drops of fractionated coconut oil, it feels really good. You're not diminishing the effects of that essential oil with that much coconut oil. It feels really good. So that's one way that you can do it. If it's a child, you can use a little bit less if you're doing like lavender or something like that. Or let's say you have like a muscle cramp in your leg or a Charlie horse, you may want to use a little bit more of a higher ratio, so it's more essential oil, less fractionated coconut oil. Okay, so using essential oils topically on your kids. So what I do for me is not the same thing I do for my kids. So on me, I use a lot of oils neat. Have you ever heard somebody say neat? What that means is you're using the essential oil without any carrier oil or anything. It's just straight essential oil. When you use it neat like that, you're actually making the essential oil absorb very quickly, but also it can evaporate off really quickly. So it just depends on the situation. A lot of times if you've got like you're trying to get an essential oil into like, okay, let's say you have a urinary tract infection, you feel it coming on. Then you can put those essential oils on your tummy, use them neat without any coconut oil. And then if it's still kind of strong, you feel like you need it, or your skin is having a little bit of a sensitivity, you can add that fractionated coconut oil on later. But there's a lot of oils that we use neat in my house, like peppermint when we have a headache, or when I am congested and I want to put Breathe on. So I don't use necessarily fractionated coconut oil then. But for my kids, I do like to dilute it. If you don't know this already, doTERRA actually has pre-diluted blends all ready to go in roller bottles. So you don't even need to bother getting the fractionated coconut oil, because if you do use that often, you'll find you get greasy, it just is kind of messy or whatever. So just, you can grab those touch blends, which come in, gosh, 9 of the main oils, and I can try and list and see if I can remember them what we got. Lavender, we have peppermint, we have frankincense, we have On Guard, we have Breathe, we have Digest Zen, Deep Blue, Melaleuca, one more. Which one am I trying to think of? Oh, it's not coming to my head. Anyway, so you've got those. And then we have the emotional oils as well in the touch blends, which I actually prefer those diluted over the ones that are not diluted. But I have both. But I do prefer that in the fractionated coconut oil. I do want to throw this out. If you have the emotional touch blends, don't use those in your diffuser, okay? You really do need to have those undiluted. I tried it one time and it's not the same thing. So definitely don't want the fractionated coconut oil in there. Okay, so kids, back to kids. So the book recommends, and it's ultra conservative, guys. So I actually don't do it this much, and when I teach you, I don't teach you to do it this much, but I'm gonna tell you what the book says. So when you're using essential oils on your kids and you're wanting to dilute them, it is 1 to 3 drops per teaspoon. So today I was talking to someone, and she's not in here that I can tell, but maybe she'll see this video later, and she prompted a curiosity on my part, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have to figure that out. So how many drops of fractionated coconut oil is in a teaspoon? Does anybody know? Does anybody have a guess? I would like to see if anybody has a guess, because it was a lot higher than I thought it would be. So it recommends 1 to 3 drops per essential oil per teaspoon. So there are you ready? Drum roll. 140 drops of fractionated coconut oil per teaspoon. Oh my gosh. So that was a lot. I would do, and actually now I'm thinking, oh gosh, how many teaspoons is in a 10 ml bottle? So if you are making a roller bottle, typically what I do, if it's ultra diluted, it's like 10 drops of essential oil, but I typically do much more than that. Okay, babies, even more. So does anybody know how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? Any bakers out there? See if you can know this one. So if 140 drops go into a teaspoon, how many go into a tablespoon? So for babies, the recommendation is 1 to 3 drops per tablespoon. Again, guys, I use the touch blends. I don't dilute my oils this much. So you get to decide. That's the cool thing. You're the essential oil user. You get to decide how you want to use the oils on your body. All I'm doing is telling you what the book says and then what my experience has led me to do. So there is 420 drops in a tablespoon. That is a lot. So I wasn't expecting it to be that much. What I have noticed is that when I follow the recommendation, I don't feel the sensation of the essential oil and I barely smell it. So that's why I don't dilute that much. So like I said, do what you feel led. I do it a lot less. So actually when I'm using essential oils on my baby, and I've been using essential oils on my kids for years, but on the baby, he sometimes gets oils put on straight too. So I use Digest Zen on his belly straight. I use Melaleuca when he had an ear infection, and lavender. I use all of that neat. I didn't dilute it. The only time I diluted an essential oil on him was when I was using On Guard. Or I finally got tired of him having the sniffles in April, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go pull out my big guns and use oregano on this kid. And so I put it on his feet, and I used the Touch roller bottle blend for him for that. And you know what? In 2 days, his sniffles was gone. So we were tired of those sniffles. Okay, back to topic. Blending. Okay, so people sometimes ask me, Jennifer, how do I make my own blends? Here is Jennifer's opinion. I like to leave the blending up to the experts. Now, I have done research and I have worked and collaborated with other wellness advocates such as myself, and so I do have access to some really cool recipes for some custom roller bottles. That's what I've shared with you guys in the past with LRP Club, or if you've sent me a referral or something like that. So I use those a lot because it's custom roller bottle blends that you can't get anywhere else, and so they're a lot of fun. But when it comes to blending, I'm not going to get too sciencey on you, but essential oils have different molecules that put them in 3 different categories. You have your like heavy notes, your medium notes, your light notes, or you might hear it like base, you know, other ways that you might hear it. So when you do blending, what you're wanting to do is grab essential oils from those categories so that the molecules work together. They have their little happy party instead of their mad brawl. And so then they complement each other and they work really well in the body. So that's why I like to leave blending up to the professionals. So when doTERRA creates a blend, it's created by somebody who is a science, a chemist, you know, some sort of research, tons of thought process goes into it. And so that's why I like to leave it to them, because man, I've tried to create some of my own blends and whew, they did not work and they smelled horrible. And honestly, if you're not careful, if you blend incorrectly, you can actually cause yourself to have a negative reaction. The only time I've ever seen that happen is when it's been an emotional situation. So with that said, when it comes to blending, there are a couple of things that I can tell you that you can hold fast to. Number 1, lemon, lavender, and peppermint, great together. Peppermint and frankincense and orange, great together. You can pretty much combine orange with anything, or lime or lemon, because all those citrus oils complement so well so many other oils. But if you're wanting to get tricky and use oils like ylang ylang and geranium and sandalwood, those take a little bit more education. So if you're wanting to create a blend for something, come chat with me or the person that is educating you on essential oils, if it's not me, and work together. Maybe doTERRA already has a blend for you, because we actually have a lot of really cool blends that a lot of people don't even know about, which we'll get into in future videos that I'm doing. Okay, so let's talk about layering. So instead of blending, let's do layering instead. You cannot go wrong with layering, to be honest with you. I think the only mistake that I have made in layering is maybe too much at once, and it was really strong for me. For example, after I had my last baby, oh gosh, over a year ago, I had him in the water at home, and I didn't really think about it, but I had used or I had been in the water for like 3 hours. Well, my skin was really wet, my pores were very open, and then I started layering essential oils on my tummy to deal with those after pains. And I was about 3 oils in before I realized, oh my gosh, I should not have done that much essential oil all at once. So those are some things, that's like the only time when I would have any caution there. But for the most part, layering doesn't take any science. You just put the oils on that you want to use. If you're going to bed at night and you want to layer on the bottoms of your feet, you want to do balance and then wait a couple of seconds and then put lavender on and then wait a couple of seconds and then maybe you want to add On Guard so that you can boost your immune system, you can totally do that. You can totally play around with layering. It only takes a few seconds for you to be able to move on to the next essential oil. Now, I will say this. If you're using a blend like TerraShield or Balance that has coconut oil in it, that's going to slow down the absorption, okay? So you may want to do that one last. Okay, so let's talk about another way you can use your essential oils topically, massage. So this would be an example of you using a massage therapist or doing a really light, relaxing massage with your spouse or your loved one. So massage therapy actually engages different muscle groups and the muscles and fibers and tendons that surround bones. And so we do want to be careful doing massage at home. So light massage at home, and then if it's anything else, leave that to the professionals. I have totally taken essential oils to my massage therapist. In fact, my massage therapist is in this group, and she may, if she sees this video, contribute maybe a couple of tips as far as that goes. But I do like to leave it to the professionals. I know my massage therapist loves using lavender and lemongrass. I personally really love a blend called Aroma Touch because it's great for circulation. And when you get done, not only do you feel really relaxed, but you also feel a little invigorated, which I think is the way that you should feel after a massage. So here's some tips for massage therapy. So if your massage therapist doesn't know anything about essential oils, that's okay, because this is what you would have them do. And you can do this at home and then take it to them. So get like a little, I would do just like a little jar, or if you save your fractionated coconut oil bottles and you screw a little pump in it, you could do it this way. 3 to 10 drops and 1 tablespoon of fractionated coconut oil. So you want to make sure that you do fractionated coconut oil when you're doing it ahead of time like this, because the molecules in fractionated coconut oil do not interfere with the molecules of the essential oils. If you want to use a almond oil or a jojoba oil or something like that, you want to mix it up and then use it. So you don't want to make a bunch and then save it for later. Same thing goes with like regular coconut oil with the fat in it still, so we still want to like use that one when we make it. And the reason why is because when we interfere with the molecules of the essential oil, we're actually going to interfere with the the ability of the essential oil to do what it's meant to do. Okay, so we covered that. Let's talk about reflexology. Has anybody ever done reflexology? I've actually never done it, but when I read the science on it, it sounds so amazing. And when you go to the mall, you always see those reflexology like bars, not like a bar like you drink at, but it's like you go in there and you sit down and there's all these chairs and you just sit down and someone does reflexology on you. And I'm just like, that sounds really cool. So if you go online and you Google reflexology chart, you're going to see hands, you're going to see feet, and you might even see ears, which we're going to talk about here in a second. So basically, when you apply oils to the contact points, which are basically nerve endings, okay? And then use certain hand rotation movements at those control points to create a vibration healing energy that carries the oils along the neuroelectrical pathways. So let's talk about bronchial tubes. Okay, so, oh, actually, you know what? I have a picture in here, and I will just use that picture because that'll be easier instead of me dragging my feet up. Okay, so bronchial tubes are on the tops of your feet, right there. So if you were to take essential oils, and if you have any reflexology education, then circular movement with those essential oils over those nerve endings will actually affect the bronchial tubes in your lungs. So if you're having breathing issues or respiratory, also the lungs have a spot underneath your foot. So in the Modern Essentials book, there's an actual reflexology chart. And really it's quite easy. You just look at the foot and you just kind of picture the body there. I mean, all the organs line up in the order that they are in your body. So the nerve endings for your body systems go down into your feet, and you're able to take those essential oils and have them go up those pathways so that they affect that part of your body. My friend Lisa, who joined me on the On Guard video, has a really cool testimony. I'll have to see if I can get her to tell me what it was so I can remember. But she was somewhere where she just dealt with migraines, could not get rid of them. She had tried everything essential oil wise, and she just figured they're not the kind of migraines that you can use essential oils on. She was somewhere where there were a lot of other people like us, wellness advocates, and of course everybody has different experiences, and someone showed her where she could put it on a reflexology point, and this lady, she doesn't have those migraines anymore. So that was pretty amazing. So I thought that science was really cool. So on the ears, you also have some reflexology points, which if you've ever done an aroma touch technique, or if you ever want really good relaxation, all you do is you put some essential oils in between these fingers, and you take your ear and kind of like you're shining a penny, and you just start up here and you just move your way down like that. It feels amazing. I actually, in the aroma touch technique, I start at the earlobe and I move my way up the ear, and then I take my thumb and I go down the back like that with some moderate pressure, and I like to use lavender for that. Talk about getting you in the mode for sleep, and it works great for kids. So Jennifer's little tip there on ears. Okay, so compresses. So water makes oils stronger and drives them in. So if you have an oil somewhere where you don't want it, it's uncomfortable, you're having a reaction, you don't want to use water. It's actually going to make it worse and could cause an essential oil injury. And this is where I see most injury reports. I see people rinsing the oil off with water. We know water and oil doesn't mix, okay? So if you get an oil in an uncomfortable spot, use another oil, like a vegetable oil, olive oil, coconut oil, whatever you have on hand. And you're going to apply it where that essential oil is that's uncomfortable, and that's going to slow down the absorption so that you can wipe it off, okay? If you use water, and I have a horrible testimony actually of somebody who's afraid to use essential oils now that I met in one of my mommy groups. Her 3-year-old daughter used lemongrass on her groin area. And lemongrass, if you have any experience with that, it's stingy. It's like rubbing freshly cut grass on your skin. So I definitely like to dilute that oil specifically. And so mom freaked out because little girl was screaming because it's going to sting getting those oils down there. And so she used water to rinse it off, and it actually caused skin burns, chemical burns. So it's a really good example of what not to do. What should she have done? Grab coconut oil, slather that little baby up, and then wipe it off. And then let it do its thing, get it to absorb and evaporate off, and then you can go ahead and, wash it off with something. Okay, so compresses. This is actually really cool, and there's a couple of protocols where you would do this, like say you have impetigo. Does anybody know what that is? It's a really nasty infection that gets on your skin, and it's very contagious. So impetigo was one example of using a compress. Or let's say you have like a skin infection and you want to put something on it. I've done this with chigger bites where they're all like in one spot, like where your underwear line is. So what you do is you fill a basin up with hot water or cold water, depending on the situation. If you've got a need for cooling, like a sprained ankle, for example. So you add the oils to the basin and you stir vigorously so you can get them dispersed, and then you lay the towel over. So if you're doing a small, like a bowl, you would do a washcloth. If you're doing like a basin, like a tub thing, then you would use maybe a hand towel or something. And then you just then apply, or you take that out so the oils will absorb into the towel, and then you take the towel and you wring it out so the water comes out and the oils stay in, and then you lay it on. And I will tell you, if you have a sunburn and you do this with melaleuca and lavender and lay that on your back with cold water, oh my gosh, it feels really good. Maybe a little bit of helichrysum to help with healing. So that feels really good. Or if you have been to the gym and it's like back day or maybe glute day, you can do this with Deep Blue. So it feels really good. Okay. There are some other ways that you can use compresses, and actually I did highlight in the book and I wanted to share with you. Oh, I'm sorry, not compresses, baths. Okay, so there's different ways you can use your essential oils in the bath. The one that I prefer, because I actually don't recommend putting an essential oil in the water, because oils and water don't mix. So what will happen is you get in there and that little oil will find your body and just stick to you, and then that water drives it in. So if you're using like lavender and you're not sensitive to lavender, or some melaleuca, that might be okay. But if you're using, like doing a detox bath and you're doing lemongrass and you're doing Deep Blue, or you're doing grapefruit or something, you're doing something a little bit different, you're definitely going to want to add it to a shower gel or some sort of bath gel. And then you can then like put it in the water that way, because that'll help it emulsify, and then you don't have that water and the oil not mixing. So that's actually what I do. You can do bath salts. I find that this actually works really well if the bath salts have had a chance to really absorb that essential oil. So I like to get a jar, put my bath salts in it, and drop anywhere from 3 to 10 drops in like a half a cup. I like to go more, half a cup, because Epsom salt is very detoxifying, so we like to use a little bit more here. And then you take a little way to stir it up, and then I'll add that to the water. And you want to make sure that Epsom salt is completely dissolved in that water before you get in, okay? And then another way is a washcloth in the shower. Again, use washcloth, some gel, drop your oils in, do that, get it in the washcloth, and then put it on your body. So that actually feels really good. It's very soothing. If you have anything on your skin that you want to get off, that's maybe soap is not the way to go, then you can use that. It feels really good if you have done something really dirty and sweaty and your skin has lots of bacteria on it, then melaleuca feels good. Body sprays. So if you've seen my video on the Slim and Sassy spray that I do for my skin when I use my fascia blaster, which I should probably do a whole video on that, but I actually make a spray with the Slim and Sassy and the grapefruit and the cypress, and I just spray that on my skin, and then you can rub it in. You can do maybe after a body brushing if you do that. So those are ways to like reduce the appearance of cellulite, or if you're just wanting a body spray for like a perfume or anything, just whatever you want to do there. Okay, so let's talk about fractionated coconut oil. So a lot of times people ask me, what do we use as a carrier? And I could probably do a whole video just on this, but I'm going to focus on fractionated coconut oil. So fractionated coconut oil means the fat has been removed. So it's always a liquid, and it's odorless, it's colorless, so it doesn't interfere with the fragrance of your essential oils. That is why it makes a great carrier oil, because if you've ever tried using an essential oil and coconut oil that has a smell, you can tell the difference. And it does kind of change the way it smells for you, and actually it's not as good in my opinion. So I definitely like using the fractionated coconut oil. It absorbs into the skin really well, and it's not overly greasy because of that. It's also soluble for all the essential oils. So every single essential oil that we have mixes really well with the fractionated coconut oil. Make it a head, it lasts forever, it's really good. And then it increases distribution. What that means is it just makes it so one drop spreads over a bigger area. Fractionated coconut oil also slows down the absorption. So if you have, muscle pain or something that's more in the surface, that fractionated coconut oil is actually going to help it stay on location a little bit longer, so the effects are longer for you. And that's really all I have the notes on that. So what I have right now is, all my notes are gone. So I have shared with you all the different ways that you can use oils topically. So if you have any questions for me, you can comment on here and let me know what they are, and I will be more than happy to answer them. If I don't know the answer, I'm certain I can find somebody who does. But hopefully this helps you in feeling more comfortable in using your essential oils topically. I'm just kind of trying to think on the top of my head if there's anything I've left off. I'll probably think of something later when I'm laying in bed and trying to sleep tonight. So again, I hope this was helpful for you. If you have people on your team that are not on Facebook, don't worry. This video is going to go out via email next month. All right, everyone, have a great night. And don't forget, with a 200 PV order this month, Litsi and Manuka are free, which are 2 oils that you cannot get. And if you're curious what those oils are good for, all you have to do is do a little search in this group and you'll see the video that I did, was that last week, on that. So again, I will see you next Monday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we're going to talk about using essential oils either aromatically or internally. I haven't decided. We'll see which one floats my boat, and then I'll share that with you. Have a great night, everyone.